hate feeling emotions. They're a distraction. They get in my way. They're annoying. They prevent me from being effective. They stop me from doing things the way that I need to do them. I hate feeling. Why do I have to feel? You know? Emotions, gosh. They're annoying. What do I gotta do to make this stuff go away? What do I gotta do to make it so I don't feel these things anymore, so I can be more effective, right? So I can get more in life. My friend said that the other day. Something along those lines, at least. It was actually a few months ago, but I've felt that way before. When I was in marriage counseling, that was what I told my therapist when we started. What do I do so that these things we call emotions are not such a big problem for me? And I'm going to tell you what I was told. You are going to feel emotions. We all feel them. All of us. Every single one. Like, if anything, like if you're over here looking at this dude or whatever and you think he's got it more put together than you, no, we all have this problem. Some people, you know, somebody might carry themselves really well with composure or whatever, but we all have to face this part of ourselves. And you can't get rid of it. So then the only thing you can really do is try to figure out how to cope with it more effectively, you know? I can only speak from my own experience, but I will hope that, you know, maybe something I say may be useful to somebody else who may need to hear it. But I've been told to sit with my emotions. I have to accept that I'm feeling them. And I feel like I'm getting a lot better at that. Not fighting my emotions, not feeling like it's a bad thing that I feel a certain way. It's gonna happen regardless. But I was told that, you know, you really need to accept it and take a moment to sit with your emotions. And I'm learning that you have to process your emotions. You have to allow it to flow through you and feel it and let it do its thing, because you don't have control over it. Let it be there. Let it serve its purpose that it's there to serve. Because when you fight your emotions, they amplify. They get worse. Because while you're feeling something, you're feeling bad about the fact that you're feeling it, and you don't want to feel it, and then you're thinking about that, and it just makes it worse. Because it's not going away. It is there, and you have to process it. You must process your emotions. You have to feel them. So there's that. I felt an overwhelming need to say that. I was thinking about whether or not I should be putting anything out here right now. But that needed said. And that includes, like, if you have PTSD. Like, I think I've actually pushed myself further into PTSD attacks by fighting my own emotions. And I'm gonna tell you a story. This is something I needed to include, because I got PTSD, and sometimes PTSD isn't flashbacks, you know. Sometimes it's just like having a response that you don't want, you know. For me, like, I dealt with a lot of, like, abuse and stuff in my life, you know. And so when certain people act a certain way, if they're aggressive or hateful towards me, you know, it can be triggering for me. And, you know, it depends on who it is. But it's just like I have had this repeated behavior of having difficulty focusing and getting stuff done when that kind of stuff is going on, because I dwell on it. And yes, I do feel like taking that moment to sit there and process my emotions when it's time to do that can be very inconvenient. Like, I would prefer to have all my time to myself and be like a perfect machine and just like, master the world and do all these things. But I am a machine in a human body. So, when it's time to process your emotions, it's just time to do that. It's time to sit down and feel it and cry or feel frustrated or whatever you're feeling. It's just time for that. And you have to allow it to happen. So, because I like being outside all the time for my work. I'm a landscaper, and for me, I have a hard time every year. I'm gonna tell my embarrassing story. I always cry at the end of summer because summer ended. That is why. So it's just like, I was driving home and it's over, it's over. Summer's over. So there's no more running around in La La Land, frolicking amongst the flowers, saying hi to the bugs, talking to the birds, like stuff like that for me. And I started crying, and then I started wondering why I was crying. And then I just allowed myself to think about it. Like, I'm crying because I love my comrades. The people who do this kind of stuff, a lot of us have a real passion for what we do. Being outside all the time doing what we do, and I'm going to miss that camaraderie. I'm going to miss being out there surviving the elements with my team, going through the things and getting through it and accomplishing things and taking care of nature and having all these experiences, running into like meeting the different species of bugs and seeing what they're up to and like hanging out with the birds and the squirrels and all of that, It kind of hurts. It hurts to let go. It hurts to let go of something you love. It hurts to let go of something that hurts you. It just hurts when you lose something in general, man. We just, we feel grief and loss, and it's just like when people break up, they end a relationship or whatever, even if the relationship was unhealthy, even if your life is better at that point that this change has been made, it's still, you still feel a sense of loss. If you lose a parent that was like abusive or whatever, you could wind up grieving the thing that you never had, but we have to just, in general, there's a lot going on right now, and I'm going to make a second video. We just have to process our emotions. You have to let it happen. And for me, that experience, though, what came along with that is I allowed myself to observe how I was feeling and accept it. I started to fight my emotions like, this is so stupid that I'm crying because summer ended. But then I realized why I was sad. I was sad because I love these people. I love what I do. I love my truck. I love the animals. I love it when it's nice outside. I love the muscular challenges that I have. I love these things. And so I'm crying because I'm hurt, because I love something, because I value something, and something has come into my life that has touched me that deeply, and I am so grateful that I have had the opportunity in my life to have something that I love so much. And that is way different than what I would have experienced if I fought with my emotions and felt like it was wrong for me to feel that way. And I realized that it was a beautiful thing that I felt that way to begin with. So for me, this process of getting used to this focusing and allowing myself to feel whatever the fuck I'm gonna feel and feeling it, you know. Of course it's been challenging, but my perception has changed, and it's becoming more habitual and an easier thing to do. And I'm realizing that the way that I'm now experiencing these emotions is less painful. It takes less time than it would if I was fighting my emotions. So I'm getting over it faster and into a better place that brings me back into that productivity that I would rather be at. Is preventing, you know, this what do you call it? Debilitating PTSD attacks, which I'm doing phenomenal at. So, but yeah, I want to put that out there for those who don't have the guidance that need it, you know, or may not have the may need a reminder right now how important this is, to understand that we are going to feel emotions and we need to process them. The amygdala stores emotions. That organ in the brain is like a little peanut right in the middle of the brain. That is our primal brain. It was there when we were little, whatever the hell we were. And the developed brain developed around that, or whatever. Believe what you want to believe. So that organ's there though. And you have 2 nerve endings per location where your nerve endings are at. So the amygdala is your emotional center in the brain, and it controls its own set of a nervous system. The amygdala can literally shut down your brain and take over. That's where emotions are stored. When somebody experiences like a traumatic event, those things can get stored in the amygdala. When somebody gets overridden by emotion and certain things happen, you know, like crimes of passion, that's the amygdala taking control over the person. It's important to understand that, you know, our emotions may not always be correct. Our emotions are there to protect us. They come from our experience on this earth, from what we've seen and experienced and learned to indicate what is safe and what is not safe. What is good and what is not good, to help you stay alive. But sometimes when we have certain experiences that get stored in the amygdala, we may have a way of reacting to things that may not be correct in where it's coming from. Say that a person gets in a very severe auto accident. For me, when I got in one, and it was really hard for me getting back into a vehicle afterwards. My friend was driving, and he hit the curb just a little bit. Like, we were going in a parking lot. We were going like 1 to 2 miles an hour, man. And I damn near climbed over the back seat, you know. It took time to train that out of myself. But sometimes we may perceive threats that don't actually exist. Like, I think the intuition and stuff can be helpful. But we do want to pay attention to where our emotions are coming from and ask ourselves if they're right or not before we take action on them. But regardless, you need to process your feelings. Regardless of whether or not it's correct, understand it. Because it's there and it's trying to speak to you, and it may or may not, you just let it happen, okay? Feel it, and that's how you're going to get through it faster and easier, okay? All right, bye-bye.